Mein Name ist Jim Rakete, ich bin Fotograf.
What you do and what you don't.
Ich treffe gerne Leute, ich mache auch gerne Porträts. Aber ich stehe unheimlich ungern vor der Kamera, wie man sieht.
Aha. What you will and what you won't.
Im Augenblick mache ich gerade eine fotografische Kampagne für die Olympiabewerbung in Hamburg. Was mir ganz großen Spaß macht, weil die Sportler alle so toll sind.
Aha, aha, aha.
Dann wollte ich weiter an meinem Buch schreiben und der Rest ist Geschichte.
There. Ready?
Der Film, den ich für heute gedreht habe, ist ein Porträt des Künstlers Joe Ramirez-Dalton. Joe Ramirez-Dalton habe ich vor 2 Jahren kennengelernt, als wir in einer Galerie standen und uns gegenseitig erzählten, dass wir Fotostudios hätten. Und bei der Gelegenheit festgestellt, dass er mysteriöse, wunderschöne Filme dreht. Denn ursprünglich ist er Maler und hat seine gesamte klassische Ausbildung in den frühen Meistern gemacht. Die Goldprojektion bezeichnet ein Verfahren, mit dem er seine schönen Kunstfilme auf eine goldene Platte wirft, die er vorher selbst vergoldet hat. Für die Präsentation dieser goldenen Filme, die sogenannten Gold Projections, gibt es einen allerersten Termin, weil er 10 Jahre lang mit diesem Material nie vor Publikum getreten ist. Wir haben die letzten Tage gedreht, bevor er diese Präsentation gemacht hat.
The idea of the gold projections goes back 10 years now. More than a decade ago, I began sketching and making models that would lead to the process of painting with light on gold. There were hundreds of details to get in place and finish before I could make what I clearly saw in my mind and knew was possible. A specific studio had to be built, surfaces prepared and panels gilded. Because the gold projections are a singular media, it's almost impossible to reproduce in any standard way in videos or films.
To me, it's totally alive. It's like a pathway or a language. The potential to use it visually is almost endless. It's alive as a lake surface, wind or darkness or early morning raking light. Gold always has a dialogue with what's around it, and that's what's really crucial with the projections. If you hold it up to the sun in different colors of leaf, you hold it up and you see a little bit of the sun through it. It sort of burns through like a thick negative. That semi-transparency goes all the way back to the history of painting. When you look at a watercolor, you see stacked image. Your eye doesn't know it. The way of the gold projections is that it gives it this depth that falls back into the disc, this sense of 3D. So for me now, it's really a language of both intimacy and scale. Like this is an intimate, like a book, but intimacy and scale, even if the panel is 6 meters large and coated in gold. The other side of it is what is put on the gold, the content.
I wanted to open a doorway for cinematographer and art director. I wanted to create something that could be used later as independent paintings, but I did not want to create storyboards. This sequence of discovering a 65 Galaxy Ford for sale of this couple on the road, and they're sort of on hard luck, and they bought crazy clothes at a secondhand thrift shop. The house in the Kepler-based film Somnium is the house of imagination. It is the house of continuity. It's the house of the poet. Yeah. So the top half is the hill of the alchemist, and the bottom half is the mountain that he takes with him. I found the house about 5 minutes from the studio.
We don't need to do this. You need these kind of brushes the last 5 minutes.
She is a wordsmith in the deepest sense. There was this American connection that I could resonate with, but at the same time, a historical connection.
So disposed for the mission yet unclear. Advancing pole by pole, marching breathed into my ear, mouthed the simple ode. One road was paved in gold, one road was just a road.
This Tchaikovsky.
I'm used to documentaries or the music videos or the films, the short films, and your structure is based on reality and what we all know of the physical laws. But once you start going into alchemy and the unknown, things can get very strange and very different. And to create them with a 2D frame is challenging.
What are you thinking? Sebastian comes from London, France and London. We've been collaborating and working together now almost 10 years, 9 years. He started when he was 19. And we have our team, our gang, our band. We have the benefit of not having a huge, heavy production. We can keep it light. And because we have the studio, we can take our time. Filippo brings a lot to the project. He always has been facilitating with the production on many levels. Isabel lives in Berlin and Lisbon. She's a painter and art director for films. We began having really easy understanding and working. Radek has been part of more in front of the camera, but he also helps. He's been acting in the film.
Kirsten and I met at Cannes, and she suggested that I apply to the ARTE Core Fund. So a few months later, she came and saw the work in the studio, and during the break of the screening outside, she said, "This is a project that really could use some help." And I said, "Well, if you help me, I'll deliver." And she said, "I know you will." And that was the beginning of a working relationship and then friendship.
People deliver it personally?
I don't know. We'll figure that out. We're trying to get this done by the 15th. Yelena and I have been friends for about 3 or 4 years now. She is a really advanced jazz singer here in Berlin.
Just bring your started arm forward so your hand is in space. Yeah, right there. That's cool.
We became very close over just the art of expression. That simple, the core, the poetics. And I've wanted to do a portrait of her for maybe a year. The painting, as you listen to it, watch it, will tell you when to wind it down and when it's finished.
There's this lady who does Wim's prints, and she's projecting on it with a big projector.
Yeah.
And it takes like ages. And then while she does it, she runs around and...
So she's dodging. Yeah, she's painting with light.
Gold projection.
Yeah.
Even here.
You have the vertical linears picked up again by the telegraphs. You have the miniature Romanesque arches, which are the mailboxes repeated, and then you have your mountains contained in many ways. That's kind of That's like a pre-Renaissance painting, like a Sienese painting, a really full-blown masterpiece.
Somewhere in Oberhausen, somewhere.
But you can see his intuitive calling to Hopper. Ouch. Somebody was learning. So we're here in the ball house right now, and we just finished oiling the floor to pick up the light. We were blacking out the windows and setting up the scaffolding and the dual projectors, the backup projector. And a lot of my friends and crew have come in to pull this together. So along comes Wim, and I'm grateful to see him. I've known Wim now for 2 years, and we met when he was able to come to the studio and have a private screening of the gold projections.
Is this blood?
Yeah.
What happened?
That's from polishing the floor on my hands and knees.
Oh, God. And did you do that also when polishing the floor, or what is this?
This is just...
Are you stigmatized?
No, that would be here, but it didn't go through, so nothing, it always takes a long time. I guess Jim's probably told you, I have a guitarist for the last film, and it's sort of Neil Young-y kind of, you'll like it. But it's
not Raikuda.
No, I don't know if you met him. He's half Asian.
I know of him now.
Yeah, Rico.
Number for you, and this number is number 24, and you will give me your phone now. Switch it off. Number 77.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, you got it?
It's like the closure of 30 years of preparation with all of this fresco work and processes and the film, feature film, to a whole nother language. So it's like a threshold. There's an etching by William Blake on the front cover of the poem Jerusalem, and it's somebody walking through a doorway with a fiery sun in their hand, and it's like that. Hello, I'm Joe. Hi, I'm Joe. It's a pleasure.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim and Wim are happy and grateful that you made it through the rain. We want to let you in on a discovery we made. The art of a man who has worked for more than 10 years, mainly in the dark, more or less unnoticed, without any representative or gallery, as a 21st century Renaissance artist, if you want. An inventor who registered several international patents for his work as a poet, historian, filmmaker, video artist, you name it. His name is Joe Ramirez. So we want to put our discovery into your hands, and that's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Palo Alto, California, comes a man with no tan who loves to talk to audiences just as much as I do. Here we go, Joe Ramirez-Dalton.
There are two types of paintings up there. There's the black silver points, and those are made with silver wire. Those are drawn with silver wire and tempera on a prepared ground. I'm really nervous. I was sitting up there, and for some reason I sat at the top of the stairs in the doorway, and I was looking down on the light, and I felt like this little kid, like listening to their parents downstairs when you're about that big. And and it looked pretty good. The light was really working. Somnium, Latin for dream. It's the title of a short story written by Kepler, 1608, 1620. It's the first piece of science fiction ever written in the West. Rakete is an astronomer whose mother has been exiled to Iceland for witchcraft. She returns and she has secret knowledge of how to travel to the far side of the moon during a total eclipse. He breaks into her purse and finds this knowledge, this spell, and he's bound by her, and he travels and he goes to the far side of the moon. And there he lands, and we've built all these models, and on that far side he meets his master, his teacher, his initiator, Tycho Brahe. I've stripped out the names of these characters, the historical side, I've stripped it away. So now the story that I used is really a doorway, and I used those nodes, the moon, the land, Iceland, the mother, the sun, the initiator, the initiated, and the transformation of these figures. I dropped into more primal imagery using all the paintings. The film is stylized after Goya's black paintings, but then it has kind of this punk quality, sort of this future, raw, industrial feeling. It's counterpointed. Everything we've done, we've handmade, hand-stitched all the costumes, hand-painted all the sets. Yeah, if there's anything else I'm forgetting, just tell me now.
Come better. For the cooks. The cooks.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Some people call me the space cowboy, yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice, 'cause I speak of the pompities of love. People talk about me, baby, say I'm doing you wrong, doing you wrong.
There was a report card from when I was in the 2nd grade, and the teacher wrote, Joe's a nice kid. He spends way too much time on art, and he needs to do his reading and mathematics. And then she says, I know he can do it at the end, basically. My mom found that 35 years later in the bottom of a kitchen drawer and gave it to me.
Oh no, 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 no. Oh, no, no.
Das war unser kleiner Film mit Joe Ramirez-Dalton, den wir gedreht haben in der dramatischen Woche, bevor er seine Arbeiten der staunenden Öffentlichkeit präsentiert hat. Verbunden damit war der Wunsch, dass diese Kunstwerke von den richtigen Leuten gesehen werden und möglicherweise bei den richtigen Kuratoren, Sammlern, Museen oder Galerien landen. Die Sache funktioniert wie eine Flaschenpost. Man kann sie eigentlich nur ins Meer werfen und hoffen, dass sie an der richtigen Küste antreibt. Und jetzt wende ich mich wieder meiner eigentlichen Arbeit zu.